Welcome to another episode of Cleaning Up the Profits, dishing the dirt on cleaning business success, where we talk with real cleaning business owners and industry experts about what it takes to make it in the competitive world of professional cleaning.
Welcome back to another episode of Cleaning Up the Profits, where we dish the dirt on what it takes to succeed in the cleaning world. I'm your host, Melissa Homer, a professional cleaning expert with over 20 years experience in the residential and commercial cleaning world. And I get the honor of interviewing our guests, who are cleaning business owners and industry experts who have built their expertise the hard way in the trenches and are taking time from their very busy schedules to share their wisdom with you. So tune in and learn today. Our guest today, I have been trying to catch for weeks, speaking of busy and important schedules. So I am beyond excited to finally get a chance to talk to Jess. Rather than me trying to explain to everybody all that you do, I'm going to let you introduce yourself. He's an incredible industry expert with a fountain of commercial cleaning knowledge. So whether you're in the residential or commercial space, if you want to learn, buckle up. Here we go. All right, Jess, without further ado, can you please tell them a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so my name is Jess Baidwan, and I am an in-house service provider for the Southern Ute Indian tribe. We're in Southwest Colorado, and I've been in the business for 30 plus years. And I have about 20 cleaners that are on my team that I'm working with. And as a general rule, I mean, we have a complex situation. We have 600,000 plus square feet on campus, and it's mixed use. So we have 2 clinics. We have a museum and cultural center. We have several admin buildings, as well as a medium industrial that we're responsible for. So there's a lot going on.
That will keep you busy. And so clearly someplace that your academic knowledge is being well used, just so that our listeners at home have a sense of your commercial cleaning educational scope, because you have quite the, I call it the ABC soup behind your name, a good number of letters. Can you share some of the credentials that you've picked up over the years?
Sure. And all that honestly has been in the last 10 years. So in 2018, I got my master's in environmental science. In 2017, I was certified as a facility management professional. And then there's a bunch of gobbledygooks. I think the other one that's I'm very proud of is for the last 10 years, I have been a master trainer for the ISSA. And so I teach multiple classes throughout the year on top of my busy schedule. But I'm pleased to share my knowledge with those who are up and coming in the industry.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. I forgive you for making you, trot out your pedigree, but I want to make sure people listening understand when you're talking about stuff, you know what you're talking about. Because there's a lot of people sound very confident. They have absolutely no clue what they're going off about. And I want to make sure they understand they're getting facts from people that have, been in the trenches and know what they're doing and are educated in this topic. So I'm thrilled to have you on here. That being said, now that I've made you sound, up here, I want to take you down and humble you just a teeny bit by making you feel a little more relatable to our listeners and talk about your early days a little bit. I want you to share, if you don't mind, some of how you got into this industry. And if you remember from those early days, any of the, put your head like this, I can't believe I did that, rookie mistakes from back in the day. So how'd you get here and, prove that you put your pants on one leg at a time for us?
Oh, sure. So my wife and I started a business. It was housekeeping and window cleaning back 37 years ago. And it was definitely a challenge. We got into the business really because we saw that there was a need. Even though we were in a fairly big area in Northern California, there just wasn't a lot of people servicing those needs. And so for that reason, we were able to have success. I know one of the things you asked me about is different challenges, rookie mistakes. And honestly, for us, it was really safety concerns, like understanding safety, understanding PPE, understanding proper equipment. We were really clueless, and it's amazing that we survived. You see stuff in the news of people who make simple mistakes, and it causes multiple people to go to the emergency rooms, because they're mixing chemistry or they don't have the base knowledge that they need. And so, we got past that and we're still here.
I was gonna say, my background is I worked with Made Pro residential cleaning franchise for some 18 plus years, and that phrase "God watches over fools and small children." Man, oh man, is it true? You try so hard to impart upon people the importance of safety and PPE, but when people are new and they're green and they're getting out there, sometimes it's like, oh, that stuff's goes right over here because that's just that legal CYA stuff. We don't really have to do that, do we? And then they get out there and it's like, oh, wait, I can make an entire facility sick. I can make my family sick. It's no joke. And some people have to touch the oven to discover it's hot. I'm glad you got out of it unscathed, but it is important to share those stories across organizations so people don't have to learn the hard way that, no, really, people have gotten real hurt here. These rules are here for a reason,
Yeah.
So,
as far as here, because I've been the division head here for 10 years. And the first year here, it was really, there were so many things that were not being done. And so for me, putting out the education as well as the implementation, even on simple things that had to be paramount at that time. So I just wanted to mention that too, relative to being here on this campus.
Well, it's nice to know that after all these years that you're still doing that work of like getting in there and discovering, hey, here's my new facility I'm managing, and they're not on it, and you've lived that getting people on task. To share with our listeners, can you share any tips and tricks you use to get your employees to actually do it and to change? Because change is hard, especially when you're walking in as the new guy, and the new guy's making us wear our gloves, the new guy's making us do this right. Like, how did you get through that?
Yeah, so I mean, that's an excellent question, and something that I think all of us as managers, we really want, but how to be able to implement that. And so for me, it was first step was educating myself. And after being away from the trenches of the industry, I had to educate myself and get that knowledge, and then being able to share that knowledge with my team. We had talked about Dave Thompson and Daryl, and they were instrumental in helping me to get really a good foundation back in this industry. I love them dearly for that. And then being able to get buy-in from your team members is so important. So doing that was educating my team. So after I became a master trainer, I do as many trainings internally here as I need to. So if I get 2 or 3 new employees, then they're being certified right away. And then they're understanding the basics of what needs to happen so that everyone is safe, and as well as being able to recognize me as someone who actually knows. So then that respect factor is there. So then when you're asking them to do something that's a little bit out of their comfort zone, they're willing to do it. And then then empowering them, not being afraid. I'm not a micromanager. I just don't believe in that style. But if I empower you, if I educate you and empower you, then amazing things happen. And, when they give you suggestions, listen to them. I've been able to, over the years, implement several suggestions from my team members who said, I think maybe there's a better way for us to do that. And then the other thing that I do is I definitely do rewards. So we have an annual period where each of their buildings are scrutinized, and it's called 100 Club. So 100 Club means the building's not perfect, but you got it as clean as it could get, and you got a 100-point score. Well, when you do that, you get a prize and you get recognition. So if it's wintertime, you get a jacket. This year they're getting igloo coolers that has our team logo on it, and so by doing that and getting recognition from their peers, and also if it's something really outstanding, the tribe has a newspaper that's been published for like 100 plus years. And so we usually arrange for them to have recognition that's published in the newspaper as well.
That's awesome. And for people listening that are working both residential or commercial or healthcare, university, it comes down to in keeping your employees educated and engaged. And I think you said it perfectly. I've got to work with them on keeping them empowered and engaged and rewarded and, and educated. And when you put those four things together, it really does, it is that magic piece. And I think there's a lot of cynicism right now in the cleaning industry. Everyone's having a hard time recruiting and keeping staff, and it's a rotating door. And when people don't feel like they're going to find somebody or the person's not going to stick, it's very easy to give up on that education and engagement and reward because they're not going to be here. Why do I bother? I'm just going to throw spaghetti on the wall and see what sticks.
Yeah,
But
that really goes back to one of the things you asked me to think about is books that I found rewarding. And the book, The Disney Way, it talks about how the people that get the greatest training up front are the parking attendants because they are going to be the first ones that everybody meets. And they also know that a parking attendant has a very short lifespan, but that doesn't keep them from doing the training. And so I have internalized that. And so sometimes I do have people, I can tell even in the interview, they're going to be a short stay. This is a patch job for them, but I'm still going to educate them. I'm still going to teach them the basics. I'm going to teach them the best practices. And then, I see them later on and they're like, thank you so much for passing that knowledge on to me. I use it in my everyday life and I teach others. Well, that's a win. They may not still be with me, but that is knowledge that is still working in the neighborhood, in homes. And so it's a plus.
And not only is it a plus because it's the altruistic, I'm helping the community, but every time they talk about their last job, oh, this place is great to work for. Jess was amazing. He really taught me. They're your own walking billboard for recruitment too. I think a lot of people get so jaded about, oh, this person is not going to be a long-term hire. Why do I care? It's because they are going to be in lots of other workplaces talking about their last job. And if what they have to say ain't pretty, you are not aware of how many leads you're losing for recruitment because all your ex-employees you didn't bother with are bad-mouthing you cross country.
That could happen for sure.
You want your reputation to precede you in a good way. And I think it's important we think about that in every touch point with employees. And I love that you took that to heart. And the Disney way sounds like a great example. I try to give everybody nuggets they can take home of where they can get further education, where else they can look for great resources. So, books or podcasts that people are following, in the professional cleaning space, there is not as much resource material as there should be. We're getting better every year and social media is helping. But for a long time, no offense to ISSA, but they were the only ones making that content really for a while there. And, we need more. We need more dynamic people that are trying to come at it from different angles and making it digestible and fun and helping elevate the industry, and so I love, and sometimes there's things we find that aren't technically made for us, like the Disney way wasn't focused on cleaning, but it's educational material that certainly is important for us because, like you said, cleaners can often be that first person someone in the hotel is actually talking to. They're running into the housekeeper, and if you haven't imbued them with your brand and imbued them with your culture and made them proud of their job, you can be messing up that whole hotel stay, regardless of how pretty that lobby was, without even realizing it,
Yeah, this makes a huge difference for sure.
But let me get you talking again. I want to ask you, obviously there's a lot of people in this space that come and go, but you over time have worked yourself from that residential business to all these credentials and managing such a huge facility. I hate making people brag about themselves because it makes them uncomfortable, but what do you feel like has allowed you to make that career path? What's been your secret sauce that's been allowed you to stay where so many other people couldn't hack it? What has helped you get through?
Well, ultimately it is education. It's knowledge. We've heard the expression so many times before, knowledge is power. And especially when you're trying to run a department or you're trying to push your people or your department, your business to excellence, is be willing to be educated, recognizing that there are other people in the industry who will know a whole lot more than you do, but be willing to tap into them. And you'll find that most of those people, like we've already touched on, like Dave and Brett and Daryl Hicks, they're very willing to share. And so I've pass that on myself too. People want to know information. I'm willing to share, even if it's just a casual thing, like they want to talk about chemistry, what chemistry is safe, what can I use at home. I will be willing to share that information with them. And, I was running a different department with the tribe, but it was the same thing. I want to push this department to excellence. What do I need to know? What kind of knowledge, what kind of training do we need? And because I did that and they found out that I had industry experience, that they asked me to move over here. And it's been a fantastic 10 years. I've really enjoyed it and really embedding myself into the industry. So, at the ISSA conferences, I often do training there. I have speaking assignments. Really, it is because of my passion that I want to share, whether it's about microfiber. I love microfiber. I have worked with
one, just for the record.
Yeah, so I work with Brett on things. We work together on developing this little mini duster. We work together on doing the disposable or reusable microfiber at a specific price point and things like that. And so being able to do that and be involved in industry articles and ways that I can share with our industry, that's been very, very important to me. And we do it because we want to build the foundation of our industry. It's going to do nothing but grow, and recognizing how technology is being drawn into our space. Even 15 years ago, microfiber was barely being used. Now we're using different kinds of filters, HEPA filtration. We're using special kinds of agents that will kill in the air. We're using electrostatic sprayers. None of those things existed even just a few years ago. COVID put us in a position where we had to recognize what are some ways that we can make sure that we're keeping our populace healthy, and then being willing to spend the money, get the education to implement those things, super important.
Thank you. And honestly, it's so lovely to meet a like mind, because I 100% agree that education in this industry in particular is so underrated, because we as a society underrate cleaning. And it is something that is a personal passion point of mine, where you see so many people in the cleaning industry. I'm just a house cleaner. I'm just a janitor. I'm telling my real job. And they have this downcast look because we've told them that this isn't a skilled trade. This is tradesmen or tradespeople work. It is highly skilled technical labor. And people come into the space thinking their job is to work harder, not smarter, when the reality is, if you educate yourself properly, not only can you absolutely change the results in a facility, you can change the lives of the people doing the work and make it so much easier on them. I see so many well-meaning business owners going, well, I just get stuff in the dollar store and some hug towels and whatever else, because they don't respect the work and they just tell their cleaners, clean harder. Whereas you point out, there's so many advances in this industry when it comes to microfiber tech and sealants and ceramic coatings and electrostatic sprays and all the stuff that's coming out, that if you don't believe that there is a value in educating these cleaners, and you don't believe that there's something to this job that requires high tech, you're not even looking. You're like this, working on 1950s tech, scrubbing hard with the string mops, going up. Oh, that's what cleaning is, rather than staying in the industry, staying on top of stuff, staying at the conventions, and seeing what's coming out. And then your staff has a whole different life experience than theirs, and that's why they're staying, as opposed to that rotating door. And I think people need to hear that now, especially where recruiting is as hard as it is. And post-COVID, post-pandemic, we've lost a lot of workers in the hourly work field, both in food service and in cleaning, who said, you told me I'm essential, and then you told me to get my butt back out here for how much an hour, and you're still not getting me the right stuff, and you're still not treating me right? I'm out. And, then we're all going, where can't I find anybody? It's like, dude, we got to start taking ourselves seriously, getting the education, and getting these poor workers the education and the tech tools they deserve for 21st century cleaning. And I love that you're just, you're putting that message out there, because it shouldn't be such hard work anymore. There's so many advances that could be making their jobs so much more livable. And I love having someone that advocating for it. So thank you. I'm curious, obviously we just gave some advice there, but I want to touch on some of the questions I planned on. If you we're able to plunk down some of these cleaning business owners that you see out there that are stuck. They've been in this business for years. Their business is plateaued. They can't seem to get out of their own glass ceiling. What would you tell them to get them back in the race? What are they missing out on that's allowed you the success that you're seeing?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the first thing, which we've already touched on, is really put time, effort, energy, and demonstrate that you care about your people. Because if they know that you care about them, they're far more likely to stay, even if they are being paid under what they're worth. And so often that's the case. But if you can demonstrate that you care about them and you're doing the best that you can for them, then they'll be willing to stay. I have one guy who's been with me now, and he's a crew leader now, and he's been with me for over 8 years. And, twice a year, he and I sit down and we talk about the fact that we recognize that he's being underpaid. So I have to be able to take care of them in a different way. So my crew, we're all day cleaners. So we start at 4 a.m. and we work through to 12:30 p.m. And so I provide copious amounts of snacks, protein bars, drinks, whatever it is that they want. Because at 4 a.m. you're not going to eat, but probably around 7 you're going to be hungry. So that's a small way for me to be able to say, look, I do care about you. I'm providing what you need. I'm going to give you energy until you can get through to your lunch break. And so, just being willing to do that. And again, empower them, accept suggestions, don't brush them off, and see what you can get out of it. And if you do implement one of their suggestions, give them credit. You don't need the person that You don't need to be the person that gets the credit. You can let them have it.
Absolutely. And I love what you said there. I think it's an important message for a lot of people watching the show that don't necessarily have the bank right now to give everyone the raise they want to give them. And we'd all love to, but sometimes you can't. But the reality is you can throw money at the issue. If you haven't been a good manager, it's not going to stick anyway. They're still going to be out. But if you don't have the money to throw at the issue, you can at least throw your heart at the issue, which is exactly what you described. I'm going to empower them. I'm going to educate them. I'm going to find creative ways to reward them that maybe I can't put it in their paycheck, but I can at least make their workday a joy and they feel valued and appreciated and celebrated. And when they come up with ideas, they're the ones getting the accolades rather than the boss stealing the idea. That stuff is kind of free or really cheap, and it can still make people love their job, even if you can't give them the raise you want to. And I think that's so important for people to hear, that they can't just go, well, I can't give them a raise, so I guess I might as well give up. That's not true. It goes hand in hand. You got to have that culture and the paycheck, and yes, the paycheck is important, but it comes from making happy employees. Because once you have amazing, happy employees, you can start demanding more from customers, and the price increase that they're looking for comes from everyone being so satisfied that you can easily go, just to keep these great staff, we got to go, do a cost of living increase, blah. If the customers are thrilled, they go, oh, of course. If they're not thrilled, they go, you want to charge more? You've been doing bum, 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 bum. And, you're not getting that price increase. So if you want to fix the problem long-term, it starts with making the employees happy. And you're so spot on. What are your best tricks for recruitment? Obviously, you're managing a large facility with a number of, very technical requirements, but maintaining a treatment facility as well as this is not a very entry level cleaning. You're looking for some pretty sophisticated cleaning in there. What is your trick to finding and keeping your recruits?
Well, we have interesting challenges because we are under the federal guidelines as a tribal government, and so I'm really not allowed to do heavy recruitment outside, and they have very strict rules on how all that goes. And so that goes back to once I have them and I know that they're going to be a good fit, what can I do to keep them? The other thing is like, and this is to be fair, is a little bit off topic, but as far as marketing goes, we do internal marketing. So we make sure, all of my staff have beautiful uniforms, beautiful smocks. If they've earned their 100 Club jacket, it's embroidered, it's colorful. And so they know where the clean team is and what they're doing. And the other thing is that internally we recognize people in other departments that are pursuing excellence, and we're allowed to give them little things. So little things that we do for when we see other people who are doing well is we give them we have a little keychain, and this has a nail kit inside. So cuticle remover and clipper and file and all that. And it says it's from the clean team. And then we have these little microfiber. It's probably going to show up backwards, but you get the idea. It's good. Microfiber cloth for cleaning your phone screen or your glasses. And, we thank them for their excellence. And that makes a difference. For example, Brett from Microfiber Wholesale, he and I went to education together many, many years ago. And I gave him one of these. And then he said, you know what? My company should be doing that. And I said, yeah, they should. So shortly after that, he started producing those as well. But, a little synergy, a little back and forth, but by doing this, by recognizing excellence inside of our organization, this has actually had some great results. Caring is infectious. And because we have been rewarding excellence for the last number of years, now several other departments within the government agency are doing similarly. They're giving certificates for those that they see who are overachieving. Now they're sharing gift baskets, and so it goes downhill, and it's a pleasure to see.
What a wonderful place to work for, and no wonder they stick. And you know what? Honestly, I love that answer because it's so easy to answer with more recruitment, presuming that your business is a sieve and that you're just dumping in and everything's going to sift out the bottom and treating it that way. When the real answer to recruitment is lose less. And that's exactly what you went for. And you're right, recruiting means nothing if no one sticks. So thank you for focusing people on the right action. That's the question I should be asking. So I'm changing my questions going forward. Thank you. You're spot on. And something that you specifically mentioned you're doing that I think people don't get how rewarding it is when you give your employees the power to reward others and recognize others. That filling their cup, it feels so good emotionally to help other people. If you get to pay to do that, that's magic right there. I think about it for my background in the residential cleaning world. We encouraged our franchises to work with Clean for a Reason, which does cleaning for cancer patients. And whenever we did it, I can tell you time and again, the cleaners involved would stick longer and be our best advocates for this job because it was so rewarding for them to say, oh my gosh, this poor patient, they're sick as heck. I can tell they're sick as heck, and I'm here helping them, and they're so grateful I'm here. And I'm just having this love-in moment of realizing what I do is so powerful. And it makes them see themselves and their jobs so differently when they get the chance to do something that rewarding. If you're cleaning at night and no one sees you and no one says good job and no one seems to care, or first thing in the morning at 4 a.m., no one's noticing, it's so easy to take yourself and your work for granted. You need a manager like you to recognize, I need to give these employees a space to feel proud and share that pride with other people and make this job rewarding, because at 4 a.m., it's hard work and no one's going to be there to, give me my gold star necessarily. So I've got to find creative ways to do that. And it's so important. And I think, it's something that a lot of companies need to hear, because it's so easy to send my night crew off cleaning and have them, not even get a wow, good job for weeks at a time if no one's careful about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want to make sure you give me something you want to make sure you talked about during this conversation. I know I sent you a bunch of questions. We kind of dotted through them, but is there anything you're like, I want to communicate this to the public. I want to communicate this to my fellow commercial cleaning, managers or owners. What did you want to get out here? Let me give you your soapbox.
Okay. So, yeah, the things that I focus on internally and externally really is tied into technology. So there is a great amount of technology in this space, and we need to be educated about it. We need to be educated about it so that we can make the proper decision. It is easy to say, no, I'm not going to embrace technology because it's going to cost me money. It is going to cost you money, but the reason why we do this is because we want to save people's lives. You know, one of the things, and Daryl probably said this to you in his interview, is cleaning professionals properly trained save more sickness than doctors can cure, and save more lives than doctors can cure, because we are preventing that contact with the germs, and we're preventing that illness. And that's what we're here to do. And so by making sure that your frontline workers understand that that's true, and making sure that your customer base understands that that's true, then you're going to have a lot more a foundation that you're going to be able to work off of. So if we go back to technology, you know, when this terminology started about 9-10 years ago about engineered water, it went over my head. It was meaningless. But now the deeper and deeper that we go, and the greater we can see that people are being infected by or impacted by caustic chemicals, then we need to be responsible and make a good choice. So, for example, you know, without mentioning brand names, you know, using aqueous ozone as an engineered water choice, and you know, we can do that and actually save money. So, yeah, the appliance costs money, but we're using water. And so, if you think about it, there's a reason why the chemical companies, without mentioning, you know, there's 3 or 4 that are huge in the space, why they're not embracing engineered water, and because they recognize that that's going to cut into the bottom line of profit. So they're in the business of making chemistry that you're going to use so that they can profit by it. Engineered water is there for a different reason. And so again, you know, we were talking about electrostatic sprayers. You know, that is going to allow us to kill more germs in a specific area. A disinfection is a final step, and we can leave that room knowing that it's as clean as it's going to be, especially in a clinical environment. And so, yes, it's worth making that investment in the technology if we're reminded that this is health and safety and environment. That's the principal reason why we're doing what we're doing. And then the last thing I wanted to mention, you know, you asked about what's the greatest pride that I have. And really that is, as far as green is concerned, all of my technicians are trained to the green standard, but it's also allowed us to get our buildings green certified. So in 2015, we got our first administrative building certified green, and it was the very first one on any Indian reservation in the United States. 2 years later, in 2017, we pushed and we were able to get 7 of our buildings on campus green certified. And then in 2021, my team worked really, really hard, and we were successful in getting 21 buildings on this campus green certified. It can be done. You educate them, you empower them, you get buy-in, they're willing to put in the work, and give them goals to reach for, to stretch for, and they'll do it. And so that is, you know, that's my soapbox.
And honestly, that is exactly what I needed, and it's perfect. You know, and just to put the button and a bow on it, you are correct that when I spoke with Daryl, he did mention some of that as well, but actually, I think you took it in a different direction in a beautiful way. So thank you for reinforcing for our listeners so they can hear it. Cleaners prevent more illness than a room full of doctors can ever cure. Yes, and that is true in healthcare, it's true in commercial facilities, and it's true in house cleaning too. I think we, in the residential space, think we're off the hooks because it's just a home consumer. But if we screw up our job, they get sick that night and they blame each other. Oh, mom undercooked the chicken. No, the cleaner took the bathroom towel and wiped it on the dining room table before you ate dinner. You know, that's what happened. And no one knows because there's no dirty, you know, there's no trace left behind and no one sees us. But in facilities, if you screw up, you're giving people MRSA. In commercial facilities, you got a whole office floor getting, norovirus, and no one's in next day going, oh, someone must have been on a cruise. No, the facility guy that got undertrained is rubbing, bathroom towels everywhere. These are real life things that can happen if we don't believe in the tech, if we don't believe in our staff, if we don't believe they deserve the education. So thank you for leaving on that, because I think we as an industry internally need to believe in each other more, believe we deserve the education, deserve the investment in the high-tech tools, that our job is worthy of high-tech toys. We're going to pay for new laptops every year in the computer room, but the cleaners are still staying there with string mops. Come on. We got to believe in our own departments. So thank you for ending us on that note. Thank you so much. This has been an awesome talk. For every one of our listeners, we continue to get amazing guests like this. So like, subscribe, follow our content. And I'm going to make sure to try to bring Jess back some other time, talking more about some of the clean tech that he loves best, because I think I know you know your research, and I love this. I'm a clean geek too. So I think we're going to have a geek out session some other time when you're not so busy. And that would be a blast. But be sure to follow our content, and thank you again for coming, and we'll see you on the next episode. Bye.